Good evening and welcome to CYC News for the 19th of June 2016 and the 12th of Ba'una 17:32 AM. I'm Andrew Botros. In today's headlines, His Holiness Pope Tawadros II heads a plenary session of the Holy Synod. History-breaking news, with His Grace Bishop Angaelos attending the service of Thanksgiving marking the Queen's 90th birthday. His Grace Bishop Angaelos gives keynote address to the British Parliament. Donald Trump to meet with NRA on banning gun sales for people on terror watch list. Euro 2016, can the French cope with an influx of 50,000 fans? And the humble coffee bean that has been downgraded from a carcinogenic status. To updates regarding His Holiness Pope Tawadros II, on Thursday the 16th of June, the concluding session of the Holy Synod for the Coptic Church was held by His Holiness Pope Tawadros II. It was attended by 110 members of the Holy Synod. The session was held in Logos, centre in papal headquarters in St. Bishorin Monastery, Wadi Natron, Egypt. In summary, the decision and recommendations of the Holy Synod course of June 2016 were the following: electing His Grace Bishop Raphael as Secretary of the Holy Synod and electing the Secretariat of the Synod. 2 decisions concerning the Coptic Orthodox monastery like St. Mary and St. Damiana in Georgia. 3. The recommendation of the Holy Synod Committees of the Family Care and Services and the Rights. The Holy Synod of the Coptic Orthodox Church is a supreme authority in the Church, and it is headed by His Holiness Pope Tawadros II. Its members contain metropolitans, bishops, abbots, agents of the Patriarch of Cairo and Alexandria. Membership is permanent for those who are in the degree of episcopal including person, the Pope, metropolitans and bishops, and the agents of the Patriarch personally. In history-breaking news, on the 10th of June, His Grace Bishop Angaelos, General Bishop of the Coptic Orthodox Church in the United Kingdom, attended a national service of Thanksgiving in her honour of the Majesty, the Queen's 90th birthday. Held in St. Paul's Cathedral, the service included a number of Christian hymns, prayers, biblical readings, addresses and reflections. It was attended by over 2,000 people, including members of the royal family, senior politicians, faith leaders and hundreds of members of the public nominated by government departments in recognition of their service. Bishop Angaelos, along with many of the number of the faithful leaders who took part in the special prayers during the service for Her Majesty the Queen, who became Britain's longest reigning monarch in 2015. Still in British news, on the 14th of June, His Grace Bishop Angaelos delivered a keynote address of the annual National Parliamentary Prayer Breakfast, the NPPB. During his address, Bishop Angaelos spoke specifically on the persecution of Christians and the minority of communities, and the millions of subsequently displaced living refugees. His Grace addressed an audience of over 700 attendees, including members of the House of Lords, the House of Commons, civic and faith leaders, ambassadors, CEOs of advocacy organisations and non-government organisations. The Archbishop of Canterbury was also in attendance. The gathering was welcomed by the Lord Speaker, the Speaker of the House of Commons, Miss Fiona Bryce, MP Chair of this year's Parliamentary Breakfast. The NPP is the largest gathering of any kind in the Parliament throughout the year. The event, held with the permission of the Speaker and the Lord Speaker, is an annual recognition of the contribution that Christianity makes to the national life of the United Kingdom. While themes of previous events have focused on topics of national impact, this is the first to address a global issue of scale. In his welcome, the Right Hon. John Burscough, Speaker of the House of Commons, said that the Churches in the Middle East is a theme that's more relevant than it is today. It is a magnificently chosen theme that will continue to be relevant for at least some of the prevailing discord, of which certainly there is an abundance of either moderated or better overcome altogether. In her welcome, the Lord Speaker, the Baroness de Souza, said that the breakfast theme could not be more timely to explore the need of tolerance and understanding. I greatly look forward to hearing as how you make steps, if not leaps, towards this. In her welcome, Fiona Bruce, MP, highlighted the attendance of this year's breakfast surpassed by previous years, with over 150 MPs and appeared 750 people in attendance, saying, "It is particularly encouraging that so many members of the Parliament are attending together with religious leaders from the constituencies. In fact, that so many parliamentaries and peers are here today, and I believe that their deep is in concern. Let us seek to ensure that we in the United Kingdom are doing everything we can to stand up to be a voice in the voiceless in the Middle East, both of those who share our faith and those who are of other faiths or not." Speaking of the Bishop Angaelos, he has done in the area of great religious freedom. He continued, "I am particularly delighted and grateful that His Grace Bishop Angaelos will address us this morning, as he has been tirelessly advocated on behalf of the Coptic Orthodox Church throughout the Middle East in the recent years." In the recent address, Bishop Angaelos spoke directly to the parliamentarians, saying, "We often hold you account for the decisions you make, yet often forget to hold ourselves an account to pray for you as you make all those decisions. In the coming weeks, those prayers will be of more importance and because of the decisions that are going to be made for the future of Britain." Speaking of Christians in the Middle East, Bishop Angaelos said, "Christians in the Middle East are indigenous people and reject in the minority status. As religions and civic leaders, we need to address the reality of the situation, that there has been a systematic yet gradual prejudice, marginalization and alienation of Christians and minority allowed to continue over the decades. This does not have to continue on our watch." Calling for collaboration, His Grace went to say that we must realize that the current situation is greater than us all. It is a need for all of us to work together. We are one very large community, regardless of which house one sits in, which church one worships in, or indeed which faith one does not have. We must work together for the freedom and dignity of human life and speak with a collaborative voice. Shedding light on the hopeful witness of Christians in the Middle East, Bishop Angaelos concluded that the Church is defiant, the Church is resilient, the Church is alive. After the event, Bishop Angaelos spoke to 50 High Commissioners and Ambassadors from a variety of faith traditions and separate events in the State Rooms of Palace of Westminster. Following the tragedy of the terror attack in Orlando, which left 49 dead and at least 53 injured, Donald Trump said he'll have to meet with National Rifle Association to discuss barring individuals on the terror wish list no-fly from legal purchasing guns. The presumptive Republican president nominee tweeted on Wednesday, "I will be meeting with the NRA, who has endorsed me, about not allowing people on the terrorist watch list or no-fly list to buy guns." Chris W. Cox, NRA Executive Director for the Institute of Legislative Action, said that the statement of the organization's leaders are happy to meet with Trump. Cox said that the NRA's position on this issue has not changed. The NRA believes that terrorists should not be allowed to purchase or possess any firearms, period. Anyone on a terror watch list who tries to buy a gun should thoroughly be investigated by the FBI and sale delayed while the investigation is ongoing. Cox said that the NRA called for due process protections for law-abiding Americans who are wrongly put on the watch list to be removed. Trump has portrayed himself on a staunchly pro-gun rights throughout his campaign, even claiming that the presumptive general election opponent Hillary Clinton wants to abolish the Second Amendment. When asked on Wednesday to clarify Trump's stance on guns campaign, spokeswoman Hope Hicks said Mr. Trump has already stated his position in this. He looks forward and thinks that this will be a productive meeting. Trump, whom the NRA endorsed in May, has previously said during a campaign that he is opposed to any further restrictions on gun rights in the wake of the recent mass shootings. Trump in December appeared to think that individuals on the terror watch list were already banned from buying guns. If people are not on the watch list or people are sick, you have already covered in the legislation. We already have, George. It already fully covered, Trump told ABC George Stephanopoulos in an interview after San Bernardino terror attack. When Stephanopoulos corrected Trump and explained that there was no case under the current law, Trump said, "If we have an enemy of state, I don't want to give him anything." The Egyptian government says that he has found the wreckage of the Egypt Air Flight 804, which crashed into the Mediterranean Sea last month. The Civil Aviation Ministry said that the images taken of the wreckage were provided to the Egyptian Investigative Committee. Wreckage found in several places, and the ministry did not specify the size or location of the parts that were found. The Airbus A320, which had 66 people on board, crashed in the Mediterranean on May 19th on a flight from Paris to Cairo. Since then, authorities have been searching for the wreckage and the plane's flight data and cockpit voice recorders, which could reveal evidence about what actually caused the crash. 2 weeks ago, investigators said that the French naval vessel detected underwater signals from one of the Egypt Flight 804's so-called black boxes. To investigate, the committee said that the statement the specialized locator equipment on the board of the French vessel La Place detected signals from the seabed in the Mediterranean. The director of BEA, France Air Accident Investigation Agency, later said that he has confirmed the signals were from one of the recorders on the plane. BEA Director Remy Jolty said that in a statement that a signal or beacon from a flight recorder could be detected, and that the detection of signal is a first step towards further revelations. CIA Chief John Brennan said that he believes 28 redacted pages of the Congregational Inquiry into 9/11 will soon be made public, and that they will prove that the government of Saudi Arabia had zero involvement with the September 11 attacks. The families of those killed in these attacks have been wanting these pages from the 2002 report made public. There has been widespread speculation that these papers concerning Saudi Arabia, its wealthy citizens and financing terrorist operations. But whether it's actually contained in those 28 pages was ultimately redacted from the report, and the families have been waiting 14 years to read the government's conclusion. Brennan, in an interview with the Saudi-owned Al Arabia TV network, said that the pages were a part of a preliminary joint inquiry that was published in 2002, just a year after 9/11. The inquiry at the time had tried to pull together bits and pieces of information reporting about who was responsible for the 9/11 attacks. Following this initial report, he said that the 9/11 Commission looked very thoroughly and these allegations of Saudi involvement and the Saudi government involvement, and their conclusion was there was no evidence to indicate that the Saudi government had supported the 9/11 attacks. He said subsequent reviews and assessments have really shown that it was very unfortunate that these attacks took place, but this was all the work of Al-Qaeda or Bin Laden, currently an Al-Qaeda leader, Ayman al-Zawahiri, and others of that type. Although we'll never watch true sunrises fall from our perspective of our own planet, like Luke Skywalker on the Tatooine, there is a newly discovered planet where aliens might do so. Scientists have confirmed that an exoplanet named Kepler 1647b is the largest one to be discovered that orbits the Sun. Exoplanets are those that orbit the star outside of our solar system. Though the exoplanet is about the same age of the Earth, around 4.4 billion years old, it's 3,700 light years away and has a mass radius and gas composition comparable to that of Jupiter. The stars in orbit are similar to our own Sun, though one is slightly larger than the other. Kepler 1647b takes 1,107 days to fully orbit the stars. The discovery was announced at a meeting of the American Astronomical Society. Kepler 1647b isn't the first Tatooine-like planet to be found, but it is the largest, and in its orbit, it's largest than any of the other confirmed exoplanets. The researcher presented in the paper, planets with more than one sun have long captivated our collective imagination, yet direct evidence of their existence has emerged only in the past few years. Interestingly enough, the planets land in the habitable zone, given the nature of its orbit and its distance from its star. This means that liquid water might pour from the surface because it's a gas giant. This would be possible only if it was on one of the large moons, which yet we don't know. In other news, not far from the Valley of Kings in Luxor, Egypt, ancient gold mines dating back thousands of years lie abandoned deep beneath the scorched desert soil. An important source of minerals during the heydays of the ancient Roman and Egyptian civilizations, the mines now have a new function as a guide in the search for the new sources of gold in Egypt's eastern desert. Mark Campbell, CEO of Alexandria Nubia, an exploration company working in that area, says that they are looking for gold mines before. The ancient mines offer clues whether or not to drill, in having not to figure out in which scratch saves explorers time and money. He says, using modern mining techniques and technology, we hope to recover a lot of gold that they have missed because they were unable to mine it and process it. To sport, it has its own Louvre museum, but 50,000 people expected to descend on the small northern French town Lens this week will be coming in for a very different type of show. They will be there to watch the England play British rival Wales in the Euro 2016, a game that will attract worldwide scrutiny for what happens both on and off the pitch. In truth, England's presence at the European Soccer Showpiece tournament has already been accompanied by hooliganism. Outbreaks of violence prior to its opening fixture against Russia in Marseille prompted governing body UEFA to threaten disqualification of both nations if trouble occurs in future tournament matches. On Tuesday, Russia was handed a suspended ban from the Euro 2016, in essence, a final warning. The French authorities' security plan had been further complicated by Russia's game with Slovakia on Wednesday in the nearby Lille, though which England fans have travel en route to the Lens. There will be 3,900 officers mobilized to ensure order. That's 1,400 more than they used to marshal supporters for Thursday's match. Despite that scrutiny, deployers were of the tension between Russian fans and a group of English and Welsh supporters in Lille. The two groups exchanged insults and some items, including glasses and chairs, which were thrown. And finally, in health, the cancer risk of a coffee bean has been downgraded, with experts concluding that there is inaccurate evidence to suggest it causes the disease. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, part of the World Health Organization, has classed coffee as possibly carcinogenic since 1991. This was because of a link to bladder cancer, but the experts group has been decided that no sufficient evidence says whether or not cancer is carcinogenic. However, it has not been concluded that drinking very hot drinks above normal drinking temperatures probably does cause cancer. The IRAC says that because of the link of esophageal cancer, but the risk was only there for the drinks consumed above 65 degrees Celsius. This was based on studies in place such as Iran, China and South America, where tea is often consumed at 70 degrees Celsius. The findings have been that 23 scientists reviewed hundreds and different studies. And that's all for CYC News for today. A reminder that you can watch the news bulletin again throughout the week on YouTube. I'm Andrew Botros from CYC Studios in Sydney, Australia. Have a good night and God bless.